We're gonna go into Google Jamboard, and then we're gonna go into art and culture and Google Expeditions, and just wrap up day 2, and then go into day 3. Okay? All right. So Jamboard, it is a service being offered by Google, but it is both hardware and software. So what you can do, you can access the software by going to jamboard.com, which is the website placed there. It is great for like team collaboration and definitely for brainstorming. It's really awesome for that. So like for Mr. Jackson, who does script writing, this one is a nice tool that you can use to brainstorm some ideas. So we had gone into the link. Mr. Jackson, I'm gonna ask you to click on the link provided after this slide. We're just gonna go in here at the same time. We did some artwork already. But what you can do, the cool thing about it is that you can draw, but one of the things that I like too is that you can put text messages in there, text boxes in there, and even color code the text boxes. So Shakira could have, all her text boxes are blue, mine all yellow, yours all pink, Ramon's all greens, and then that way we can see who contributed what. Or it could be color coded in the sense that we are grouping certain topics together, or some certain things that are under a particular topic. So that's one of the cool things with Jamboard, and all you have to do is create the board, and then to the top right hand corner, just like any Google service, you click on share, and my suggestion is anyone with the link can edit, right? And you can simply take that link now, put it on your ORVLE or within your slides, and then now the students can join in and collaborate with you. The next service is Google Art and Culture. And so you can go to artsandculture.com, but really it is an app. So you want to search in your Play Store or your Apple Store or your Windows Store. Depend if you're one of those persons who has made the decision to actually possess a Windows phone. You can go in the Windows Store and search for Google Arts and Culture. And so I'm gonna have to show the demonstration on my phone, so I'm just gonna head down to you. Let me just walk past these gentlemen. So what I did was, so as I was saying, it's an app, so you have to, okay, it's an app. So what I did, I just found, I found something online, went into the app, found it, and then placed the link, don't flap me in front of the camera, thank you. So I found the lesson, and then brought it up. And what you can do is, I just found the Natural History Museum, and you can actually take a tour through the museum. Okay, it looks like my internet is a little bit iffy because it's usually clear. So you can take a tour through the museum without having to actually be there.
Okay.
So there might be content or information that's housed at a certain museum that you want your students to engage with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're in Jamaica, it's not so feasible for us to jump on a plane to get there. So you can interact with find information like this to interact with.
Right.
And that is arts and culture. And then we have, let's hope the camera doesn't show all of my stuff now. I'm just being naughty. All right, and then we have Google Expedition, which I'll get the VR glasses. But you can view international paintings and sculptures with this service. So again, I went and looked. Of course, apologies, I looked for stuff that I thought would interest the animation lecturers. But again, it's just to go onto the app and find lessons that correspond with what you want to, if it makes sense. So again, this one is the Museum of Science in London. Mm-hmm. You have to click download first, and then once it has downloaded, it's gonna ask you for the VR unit. So there it is. I can either view it naturally, like what happened in Art and Culture app, right? So there you see, I can go through naturally, right? And I can get information. I can swipe up and get additional information if I so desire. Or let me just get that. Oh dear, I just did it. Library. Is it all right, let me just go back. Right. Or I can say view in VR. And let me just grab that goggles for a sec. Very, I'm not going to use the C word. It's very affordable.
This is A word.
It's $7.99 on Amazon.
It looks like you could make it.
I know, right?
Oh, I got some.
Whoa! Don't flop me. And then now you put the phone here and you just line it up with the goggles.
Okay. And you will.
Ladies first.
Very realistic.
All right.
I'm actually turning my head.
It's fine because you can look up as well.
Oh, that's what you want to do. Yeah.
And when you look in there, you see some menus. Mine wasn't working so properly yesterday. There's a button right here that you could actually click to access the menus, because you see inside some little white dots that you can. But yes, it wasn't working. Don't worry, it's not the nails. I don't think it's the nails. It wasn't working properly yesterday. That you could click on the menu and get additional information.
For what you're looking at.
Exactly. And some of these virtual tours, they're in painting museums with paintings, or there is another one that I'm going to show you where it is of the office of someone who is working at Disney, an animator who works at Disney, and then now you get to see what does an animation space look like, right? And then there's information there from the animator. She's giving her perspective and her view. Man, you bucket to Mr. Jackson.
Oh, not the button to work. Okay.
You got it to work?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome sauce.
Cool.
Maybe you don't like girls. What a sexist. Uh-oh, that's my phone ringing.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, there's music too?
In the middle of the demonstration. So now you actually get to see inside this, inside her office within the studio. And you see how she set it up, and she's interacting with
There is
somebody else. I don't know if it's a client or a supervisor. We don't know who he is. But she's definitely interacting with someone else in the room. Right now, Mr. Jackson is looking like, why Sharika can't hurry up so I can see? I'm guessing this is one of the
Shakira,
drawbacks.
not Sharika.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I've been so good.
It's not messed up already.
Shakira. But I guess this is one of the issues that you would find in the classroom if you only have if you only have one helmet to share, right?
Oh, she worked on Phineas and Ferb and Tomorrowland.
And I really love Phineas and Ferb.
Let me close that.
Tomorrowland is okay.
Yeah, Tomorrowland is okay. Oh, I thought the people did moving.
No.
But that's a nice shot.
All right, and you can walk around him and you can inspect what's happening and how it was sculptured. So you can come take a look.
Why are you looking down there? Why are you looking down there?
Because it's what I like. Sorry, I can make him smaller as well. Yeah, by shrinking him, you can do that. You can enlarge him or shrink if you so desire.
It looks better from behind. Very nice, very cool.
Yeah, you can. That sounds like she's allowing you now to use the phone. And in this case, when we're using the AR, you're gonna walk through David. And in this case, the only thing the students will need is their phone. As long as their phone is able to handle the app. Other things you could bring up as well. So, for instance, Da Vinci. This is one that I like to show. Yes. So click on the link for me. Let me just quickly. No. All right. So Google Forms, and I gave step by step here. Let's present. Thanks. Again, I don't know if it's because I am just so accustomed to using Google Forms, but I find Google Forms to be just a smidge. I won't say it's better, but it's just a little bit easier than Microsoft Forms to me, okay? And I guess that could just be my comfort zone speaking, all right? So
specific thing called Forms, or Microsoft
yes,
Word?
Microsoft has an app called Forms, right? And they pretty much work the same way. So when you go in your Office 365, you'll see an app that says Forms. And in your Google Drive, once you say add, I think it's add in the top left-hand corner, or new, you click on that, and you see the traditional stuff. You see folder, you see spreadsheet, you see word processor, the three that we're accustomed to, slides. If you click on more, you'll see Google Forms in more, and drawings in more as well. So what you do when you create a new form, it looks something similar to this. They've been changing their interface recently. As I was explaining yesterday, Google is now going on a bigger drive into education. So they recognize that persons could use forms to create quizzes, and so it's looking different. But this is pretty much the interface now. And once you create a new form, you can put in a name here. You can give it a description. So if it's a quiz, you could say, you don't have to the person doesn't have to see the form as soon as they go into they click on the link that you give them. You can actually start it out where it's just information. Have you ever done a survey like that before, where you see the name of the survey, it gives you a description, you don't see anything, it's not asking you to enter any information, and below the description it says next. And that sort of replicates what we do in exams, don't it? Right? Before you can start, you know, you say, students, make sure you have your so and so together, blah blah blah, you may begin. And then they can now turn the leaf and begin, see the questions and begin the exam, right? Or you could have it where it is the name, the description, and then they have to put in their information. So you say, give me your name, email address, you know, ID number, whatever it is that you want, whatever that identifier is, and then they have to click begin or click next or whatever, right? Now with the questions, automatically the first question comes up for you, and of course you retype what the question is and you tell it what you want. Should it be a short answer? Should it be a paragraph? Multiple choice? What do you want these persons to do? Check boxes. We know with check boxes the person can select more than one. Is it a file upload? This was something new. This is not new, like in the last year or so. This is recent. You know, linear scale, which is similar to the Likart, and multiple choice grid. So I use that one a lot, the multiple choice grid, like if I'm testing someone's feeling on a particular topic, right? So I created a survey for someone already where they were like, what was your experience like in this particular section of the hotel? And then, you know, on the left is just a series of questions, and then you just give them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know those. Or seriously, strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree, and then I drop it in a grid. So it's a series of questions, and then all they have to do is just rate a button which one of those they go towards. So, and then the same thing, checkbox grid. Do you want them to give you a date or a time? So you have those options available to you. Now let me show you. Thank you. Let me show you what that looks like. Sorry. So there it is, new, and it shows you a file, upload, folder, and then more, and you get the options of Google Forms, right? Now the only reason why I have these other options is because I've activated those options. How Google works is it would have only showed you forms, and then once you've gone through the add-ons list for Google Drive, you are able, I think Google Drawings is there automatically as well, but the rest you would have to add on, right? Coggle. Coggle is actually pretty cool. This one is a mind mapping service. I can talk about it after this as well. So Google Forms. So see, pretty much similar. As I said, Untitled, but we're gonna make this one a test instead of just a survey, right?
Right.
And what we do is to the top right hand corner, you click the gearbox, and you can say, do I want to collect the email addresses? This option is the same whether it is a survey or a quiz. Alright, so you can make that decision. You don't have to collect the email addresses, but you have to collect their email address if it's limited to one response per person. Because what Google is going to do is they're going to test it against the email address that they submit, right? And then, do you want them to edit after they submit? You know, most of the time I say no, especially when it comes on to quizzes. And CS summary charts and text responses, I don't for the quiz because I don't want them to see, right? Then we go over to the quizzes. And see, turn it into a quiz. This one I like So as soon as they finish the quiz, they are aware as to what their grade is. And I like this one because you want them to know. Feedback is important.
How does that work for like written?
Alright.
Short
Alright, so
paragraphs.
that's a very, very good question. It doesn't work so well with the paragraphs and the open-ended questions. So I pretty much just leave it to radio buttons and check boxes
And multiple choice.
multiple choice, those type of stuff. They do, you can look for keywords. So I'm not gonna say you can't do the short answer and you can't do the paragraph. It just, to me, it's sketchy. It works, but it's sketchy because you have to give it keywords for it to track, right? Do you want them to see the missed questions, the answers to the missed questions that they had? Can you scroll down for me? What were the correct answers? Do you want them to get the point value? You can determine if you want them to see those things or not in the feedback, right? So let's click save. And let's come up with some questions. I think I had some already, but let's come up with some questions. Oh my goodness. We've just left Raman to ask the questions. Are we sure we want to do that today, guys? We want to supply another question. What's your name? No, let's put name. Just put name. And for some of them, you notice it automatically, it saw the keyword name and it automatically went to short text, right? And then you can say, do I want it to be a required question or not, right? So let's create a new question by just clicking on that plus. And I don't know, let's give it an actual question now. The sky is. Well, that one is a good one, right? The sky is green. Enter.
You know why that's a bad list.
Yes, because the sky can be anything. Falling.
Exactly.
Okay, fine. What is the color of the sky?
Then you get a bag of students saying you see them ask what color.
What is the color of the sky? All right, and give it purple. All right, scroll down and now we can see. Click on answer key for me. And so now you are telling it which one is the answer. So click on blue and you're going to tell it how much points you want it to be worth. 10 points. Oh my goodness. Man, that's a lot of points for if they don't get this thing right. Right? And you just click. You can even add, so go back to answer key for me. You can even add answer feedback. So an explanation as to why that was the answer, right? And it doesn't have to be the exact thing. The reason why the sky is blue is because of refraction, and blue is the biggest one in the light. It don't have to be that. It could be see text, page so and so, right? To get them back into textbook if that's where the resource was. Or go back to the video and you give them the YouTube link that you had got the information from. You with me?
This is like preloaded feedback, or this is feedback after?
No, feedback that you provide. You're creating that once they've completed the quiz, they can see the feedback.
Okay.
Right. Especially if they got it incorrect.
Right.
Right? So what I'm saying is that feedback doesn't necessarily have to be your explanation as to why it's correct. You could point them to the resource that, because it could be that they just need to read it again, or watch it again, or interact with whatever it is again, so that they can see the answer for themselves, right? So anyway you want, see there, and it's even saying, you can add your YouTube video if you want, you can add a link if you want, right? So save. And let's give it one more question. So the plus. And Should Mr. Jackson buy lunch for all of us tomorrow? Question mark. Yes or no? And automatically, again, Google recognizes that this is a yes or no answer, so it's bringing up yes, no, maybe, and all. Should Mr. Jackson buy lunch tomorrow? Let's just put lunch tomorrow. We're gonna see what everyone else puts in. We're gonna see.
The option should be no and hell no.
And what Ramon just did a while ago, he just clicked on the answer that was there, the suggestions that were there, right? There we go. And again, put in the answer key, Ramon, and yes is, and let us drop it back into the slides, because all of you have access to the slides. So let's drop it in the day 2 slides, right underneath. No, escape, yeah. Oh, it hasn't loaded as yet. It's fine.
The internet is not in my favor.
Internet is saying,
Conspiracy.
internet is saying, my child, you don't want to vote.
It's still got my IP address, right?
I did. All right, now
Conspiracy.
the students have submitted their answers. Sorry, where's our, oh, this is it, right? Yeah. And there it is in our Google form. We have 2 responses already. And once Mr. Jackson has completed, it will update to say 3 responses. So to check the responses, all you need to do is click. Got it. All you need to do is click on responses. You can get a summary of the responses, which gives you an average of what respondents. And this might be something you want to do when you're discussing the test with the students in a classroom setting and you don't want to show the individuals, you don't want to show the individual papers, right? And I'm going to show you the individuals. So you might go, you know, I noticed the majority of you students, you answered, scroll down for me. The majority of you students, you answered, some of you answered, so one of you answered, how much did we say? We said no?
Yeah.
No, this one was which one? This was, oh, total points distribution, sorry. Scroll down for me. Scroll down some more. Is not scrolling? There we go. So it could be, you know, some of you answered green, and some of you answered blue, and then you could have a discussion. Why did you answer green? You with me?
Right.
So you can show the summary depending on the type of questions that you've asked. So then now you can get from the students in a group setting, in a group discussion, why did they answer those and why that answer was incorrect. And a lot of times when we're designing these quizzes, what we're finding is that sometimes we didn't take into consideration all the options. And in truth, a student can argue, no miss, the reason why I responded this was because X, Y, Z, and then you could improve their grade, right?
Right.
The 4. Wait.
4. Somebody else?
Somebody created a phantom. I should have limited it to
Alex,
one.
you're on my side. Awesome.
I should have said 1 response per. Alex.
50-50. You created
You should have used Trevor.
pounds of
Trevor is the name that we had discussed.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so I have to tell you the story of Trevor.
Yeah,
guys.
tell me
I'm
the
so
story
sorry.
of Trevor.
I have to tell you the story of Trevor. So one of our instructors, animation instructors, he was teaching his class, and at the beginning of the semester, had everyone in the class, including Trevor. At some point, Trevor wasn't going to classes. He wasn't attending classes, but the students were covering for him. So every time our instructor says, Trevor, doing the register, Trevor, somebody go, here, right? Trevor was marked as present, so they were covering. Then, what they realized was the instructor was grading on a curve. So what they would do is, Trevor was no longer in class, he dropped out, and they submitted an assignment. I mean, he's already in classes, so they submitted assignments for Trevor. But of course, Trevor was the worst. So everyone would do well because the instructor is marking on a curve, and Trevor's was really, really bad, right? And it wasn't until the end of the semester that he found out that Trevor was a phantom, right?
Awesome.
I hope he gave them all A's.
Created 2 assignments. Crazy. So that's our joke.
I would let them get away with it. I would
That's
just
our
say,
joke.
Good job. Good job.
When you want to have a phantom, Trevor is the name that you're supposed to.
I would do like what IKEA did. You know, like there's a series that was shot, and if you see the series, you'll know everybody in it because they're now famous. But back then they weren't. They actually filmed the series in IKEA, without the IKEA employees knowing. And eventually, when IKEA caught on, because they saw the series online, and they caught on, they had a good laugh, and then they beefed up security. So, they never pressed no charges, they never blocked them. They said, oh, good effort, guys. All right, beef up security.
Very bad.
Like bedroom singing, sleeping bed, everything.
Like more than one season, sir?
I don't know if it had more than one season, but they had a full season. And I mean, like, in some cases, because like them have to shoot at night, in some cases them hide out in IKEA till after. But like when you see it, everybody in it is now famous.
Our film and animation students about determination.
Yeah man, guerrilla filmmaking.
Courts need to watch out.
I don't know, but I'm sure if you Google it, Google series shot in IKEA, I'm sure it will come up.
Oh
But like literally when you see the people, you go,
seriously?
they're all famous.
No, you're working. Click a question for me. Scroll down. Answer no. Now you actually get to see what, based on the question, because some persons don't grade per paper. Some persons grade per question. So you can actually scroll back up. So you can actually see that question for each student,
Oh, okay.
right? And then what you do now, when you want to go to the next question, you scroll over. What is the color of the sky? And then again, you'll see that question for each student. Scroll down. No, oh, everybody gave this answer. Yes. That's what happened.
But can't you think there's you change it to individual?
And then now, if you want to see each paper, so scroll back up for me. Here it is, it's in individual, and I'll see Shakira's paper, I'll see Kevin's paper, Jess' paper, and Alex's paper.
Is it possible to, so like suppose you don't want to send them a link, suppose you want to say embed it in the email so that if they're doing it from the phone, they don't have to be going to a separate link.
Yeah.
That can be done?
Yes, that can be done. I've done that already. Yeah. Now the next cool thing about the responses, because I'm pretty sure Shakira is asking to see her churning the gears in her head, like
What's that?
lots of questions to ask. No, not ready yet?
Not right yet.
How do I keep these responses? I need to have a record of these responses because 2 years down the road, 10 years down the road, somebody's gonna ask me, how much did this person get on this quiz? You need to have a record of it, right? So you can store it as a spreadsheet by clicking, so create spreadsheet, and you give it some appropriate name. Now, what I do with my instruments, I reuse the instrument because the form doesn't change, right? And so each set of students that I record their grades, I just, I say assignment 1, and then label them by when they entered. So if it's a September, it's a course code September 2019 or September 2018. So I can keep track of each one of them, right? And you just create those, thank you. And you create those, and it will, and there we go. It tells me what their score is, when did they do the quiz, the score, and gives you the responses for each one of those questions that you asked. So now you have a record and you have their score, which then now all you have to do, what I do is I make it the weight. I make the total score, the weighting of the assessment. The weighting of, so if it's an assessment that's 20% of the final grade, the score would add up to 20. So it's easy for me to just say, okay, I go over to the grade sheet now and I just record what the grades are. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. And then one more thing I want to show you. So let's go back to the form. Right now they're in there and they're in there for all eternity. And then some student go, oh, I get the link, I'm gonna at the very last minute, granted you have the timestamp now so you know when they respond, right? But at the very last minute they decide that they want to participate in this test. They go, no, I don't want that. You can turn it off. Where is it? Wait, yeah. When do I turn it off? No, it's not that. Where were you a while ago? It's yeah. You may not just select, but no.
Not on link form?
Yeah man, checking this.
Oh, the spreadsheet.
Yeah. Form. And then, no. Data. Tools then. It's there somewhere. Where are you? This is how I always. No. I usually see it in form. Go back. No. Go back. Go somewhere. In form. No. Oh goodness. No, that's nothing. I'll figure it out. It's there, but you can't actually say, don't take any more responses.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I actually go around searching
true.
for it when I just can't remember. Cancel. I know it's not there.
Yeah,
it's not
I've seen it before, and I can't remember where to find it.
It's not in the wheel?
Check that one too, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Preferences?
No.
Ooh, this one is actually pretty cool. Get pre-filled link. I don't know should I blow up your head? You want me to blow up your head?
Why not?
Okay. So what I said to you is you can use the forms to do surveys, which is really what form was originally meant to do, right? And then it's now being used for quizzes. But that pre-fill is still looking for it. You're such a Jamaican man. As soon today's year, I just can't remember it right now. But you can actually pre-fill. I have been investigating using QR codes for attendance. Alright, so some people can tell you that I'm very, very bad with names. Terrible with names. I often can't remember the student's name. And I don't know how people do it when my set goes beyond 20, maybe 15, beyond 15 persons, it's very difficult for me to keep track of them. So at one point I was investigating, can't somebody just walk in and I just scan a QR code and then it marks their attendance digitally instead of having to stop my class, see that this person is here and then mark the register and then go back to the class. Can't they just walk in, swipe, and they are registered as being attended class, right? And everything that I had found, and as I told you guys, I'm a Google baby, so I was trying to figure out, is there a Google solution that does that, right? And there is. There's a Google solution that creates QR codes for you. I'm not gonna go into the demonstration because I'm not prepared for that. And what you do is you create a form for all your students, right? Same thing like what we just did, and you probably just have it as name, right? But instead of just creating the form with the blank form with the
Questions?
question that says name, you have a pre-filled form now that gives you all the students' names. And what you can do, you can actually collect a link for each one of those students. So there is a filled out link for the form that says Kevin Jackson. There's one that says Shakira. There's one that says Chevy. One that says Jeff. Right? And what you do once it goes over the QR code, it brings up the form, and then it's set to Kevin Jackson if it's Kevin Jackson, and then all you have to do is click send after that or submit, and it's automatic. It is amazing some stuff that you can do with these forms, guys. But in all honesty, so I just showed you how you can use Google for quizzes. There's a lot of drawbacks to using Google for quizzes.
Okay.
And one more time, it's strongly recommended that you use the instrument that is provided in Orville for your quizzes. Okay? Now the cool thing, so I just showed you something really amazing, blew up your mind, and then now I'm telling you to go to Orville because you can do pretty much the same thing, but what Orville has, yes, Kevin?
I found where you disable the phone.
Yes. It's in the spreadsheet, right?
No, it's in
not?
responses. At least from what I'm seeing.
Yes.
And then you
Accepting responses.
Right.
There it is, and you turn off the button.
Yeah.
And it's there. And now, no matter how much they try to,
The time is gone.
it's gone, right? They cannot. Yes, the cool thing with Orville, what Orville's quizzes have over Google quizzes, is that you can create a question bank in Orville. And so you only have 10 questions in your quiz, but over the time of delivering your course, you now have created 100 questions. And so instead of you manually have to set up those 100 questions, you simply, there's a method, and again, I'm not trying to step on Dr. White's toes. I am simply trying to inspire you to join the COT sessions that Dr. White will be having this semester during the school term, right? It's 10 weeks. And what you do is you create your Word document with your questions, you put it in a certain format, you upload it to Orville, and like magic, because we all know in the creative arts, it's all magic, right?
Yes.
So like magic, those questions are automatically added to your question bank. And then now you, when you've created your quiz in Orville, you can say randomly select questions from your question bank, or you can select questions that you want for the quiz from the question bank, and you're delivering your quiz to your student. And it's the same theory behind this as behind that. I suggest leaving it to the multiple choice questions and check boxes, right? And you can allow it to give them their grade upon submission and all of that stuff. It's the same theory. It's just the cool thing with that one is you can give it a series of questions, more than what you would have asked, because as we know, the students can be, they're very inventive when it comes on to doing the bad stuff, but not inventive when it comes on to doing the stuff that they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you might be in a situation where you have given the test before, but somebody met in an accident and wasn't able to participate before you closed off the quiz, and they brought the note to say, I was in an accident, it's legit, can I do the quiz? You don't want to give them back the same questions because the other students have been exposed to those questions and probably can say to them, hey, this did one, you know, so on and so forth, right? You can pull from another set of questions and deliver that quiz to that student in particular, right? So lots of stuff that we can do with these quizzes. They are amazing. Let me show you Kaggle. Yeah. All right. Jeff is busy looking for food in his bag. So let's create a new Kaggle. Kaggle is mind mapping service. And mind mapping is another one of those tools that you can use to flesh out ideas. So brainstorming is one that's the most popular idea generation method. Brainstorming, everybody's familiar with brainstorming, but mind mapping is another one, but it's a little bit more intentional, at least to me.
Yeah.
Right? Now what I was finding was process is very important to us as creatives and to us as, oh, okay. Sorry, felt a little busy there a moment. Whew. To us as creative instructors, process is important. We want them to be aware as to what process they are going through so that when they go into the working world, it's easy for them to come up with these, come up with their ideas and come up with whatever it is that they're creating because they have a deep understanding as to their process of developing stuff, right? And so mind mapping was one of them that I was looking into. The student can actually create the mind map Kaggle. There's lots of services that allow you to create a mind map. Some of them are outside of Google, some of them are within. Kaggle is just one of the mind mapping services. Lucidchart is another one. It's just a tool for them to break out their idea. And so, you know, I don't know, what is it that they're trying to flesh out? Who am I? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Alright? So that could be the first point. That's the question that get asked. So a question that I like to ask my students when I was in the digital media program and here in the animation program, they have to come up with a sense of self. Who are they? What do they represent? What's their philosophy? You know, what drives them? You know, what type of art do they want to do? What type of animator? Who are they within the animation industry? Lots of questions so that they can flesh out their persona, right? So the first point could be, who am I? You know, and it could be, they could say, draw artist, that's my word, I've coined that, it's copywritten, don't try to.
You can fight with Wayne Carnegie. We can fight with Wayne Carnegie when he comes back.
You know, what else? Anything else? No?
A mother.
Oh, so we're doing me? Okay.
Oh,
mother, photographer, you know, whatever. And then for each one of these, they can flesh it out more and more and more and more. And so after a while, what should happen is they get to this nice little spider-looking thing, you know, this web-looking thing that then now allows them to see who they are and can now write a paper on who they are.
Can multiple people work on it at the same time?
Yes.
Great.
And that's why.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah. So where is it? Let me see now, because it's been a while since I've used Kaggle. Let me close this. been a while. Who am I? Copy.
I use this method when
Oh, here it is.
I use this method when I'm helping students come up with ideas for their scripts.
Ah.
But I don't have a tool like this, so I always end up
Comments
using
and
the whiteboard and marker.
Ah, comments
So
and
this would be
chat. View. But if that's the case, Lucidchart maybe be a better tool for you to use.
Oh, okay.
It's just an experiment, but I know you can. Oh, there it is. Ah, yeah.
So multiple people can use Lucidcharts as well?
Yeah. And what I used to do, because I stopped doing it now. But what I used to do was have them create the mind map and then they share it with me, and then I could assist, or if it is a submission, I could see what it is that they've created. And most of these mind mapping services, you can download it as an image or download it as a PDF and then share with you as well. So you can see it in different ways. But this was something that I was noticing. They just don't have an idea as to how to develop ideas,
Right.
you know? And even it could be a design piece where you tell them create something on a factory, and they're just like immediately they want to go to the computer to create. Or you tell them to do, what was it again, the selfies, the photojournalism, the assignment that you gave them. You told me something about photography about 2 days ago.
I'm not sure. I told them to identify the director that they like and select one of his works that they want to recreate.
And then, but then now you can ask them, why is it that they like this person? And mind map can help them to flesh that out.
Right.
You understand? So, a lot of times, as I said, they just go straight to whatever the activity that you tell them, they just go straight and do it, and you go, no, there's usually some kind of thinking phase or planning phase that you need to go through, and they don't go through that phase. You can say, give me a mind map that tells me how you got to here, you know? I do that a lot with essays, you know. Before you go to the essay, tell me, how did you get to the points that you got to in your essay? Then write the essay. And what I find, it's just a useful tool for them. It's really not for me. It's just a useful tool for them, because now what you find is they're able to write easier, you know? So I find it to be very cool. But Lucidchart is another one. I can't do the demonstration because, as I said, I haven't used Kotlin in a long time, and nor have I used Lucidchart in a long time. But they exist, and both of them are Google services.
Oh, Lucidchart is a Google service? Lucidchart is a Google service?
Yeah. Well,
Really?
Lucidchart is a service that you can use your Google account to access. So it's an add-on. So you can actually click on add-on and then say Lucidchart. It's in the,
Alright.
it's in the list. Alright. So, I mean, we went a little bit beyond what we were supposed to do. So yesterday we looked at e-time sheets. Mr. Shelton gave us a brief demo on e-time sheets, and we explored Office 365, what it can do for us, and some of the downfalls of Office 365 as a UA lecturer. But I strongly recommend OneDrive and Yammer. If nothing else, those two are nice tools to use. And then we also have Google services available to us that can help us with our teaching. Drive, Blogger, Jamboard, Arts and Culture, and Expedition. But word of warning one more time, try as much as possible to have the students use the Office 365 over the Google services, only because we want to be able to track registered students. Registered students will have access to the Office 365. Anybody can have access to the Google services, right? So, how would you incorporate some of these technologies? Blow up your head, blow up your heads. Any ideas came to mind while you were seeing some of these technologies? I mean, Kevin argued, but that doesn't count. When we were talking about the mind mapping, Kevin gave us some ideas how he would incorporate it. But we saw virtual reality and augmented reality. We saw using an online whiteboard like Jamboard. We saw sharing documents with either OneDrive or Google Drive. So any ideas that came to mind, how do you think you can incorporate those technologies?
All of them seem pretty useful, and some may be more useful for some classes than others. In terms of the Google tours, the for the museums, that would be good for photography, because it's good to have references of what is considered, you know, a good photo, what is a good photo, or what makes a good photo, what story a good photo tells, things like that, because it's not just how it looks, it's also about the story.
Exactly.
And I'll definitely be using forms for doing the quizzes.
Nice.
Yeah,
I am not. You said we should use the one in Orville, but until I get access there,
Then you can.
and I know how to maybe work both of them together, but I can be at home and I'll do it in group and I'll have it.
And that's actually, so you remember I was saying to you from day one, I was saying I was a part-time lecturer and now I'm full-time. And so that's what used to happen to me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so heavily concentrated in Google, because a lot of times
You have to just end up using Google.
you didn't have access. I told you the story where I had to stand up outside the library while the students were, because I didn't have an ID. You know, so I know the issues,
And
I'm hoping we're gonna address them soon.
with the responses and the graphs and the feedback being visible to show to the class is also important, because like there are some things that may be, I guess they might give a very simple answer, and it's not that it's incorrect, but
They need to flesh it out somewhere.
at their level you're expecting
Yes.
a more in-depth answer. So it'd be good to give them a link to say, all right, here what, if you're in prep school, sure, but at this level you should be able to explain why you do things a certain way, or why it is a certain way, things like that. You touched on one yesterday,
Let me see, yesterday.
right? We did Blackboard yesterday. Not sure I'll be using that one. Maybe it's just my style of not necessarily.
Oh, you're talking, no, Blackboard Collaborate is supposed to be today, but it's fine. The
Okay.
video that I showed you?
Oh, that was I have my notes mixed up.
Yeah, man, that's fine.
No man, you showed me one yesterday. It was similar to Blackboard. We were drawing on it.
Whiteboard, yes.
Whiteboard.
Jamboard.
Jamboard.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure if I'll be using that one. But I can see if lecturer.
Listen, this is the key thing. All I'm doing is exposing you to software.
Right.
Don't incorporate software just for incorporating
sake, yeah.
software for software's sake. You know, have a reason why. There's actually something that you already do in your workflow, and you're just simply trying to find a mechanism that can do
Yeah.
it.
And where the
Online.
gaps are. So we
Exactly.
can fill some of the gaps. What we're doing with the virtual reality this morning would be very entertaining
Yeah.
and stimulating. So as opposed to just listening to a lecture, they'll be more able to interact, and
Exactly.
just a different experience of what the lesson is about. So I'll definitely use those ones for sure, especially for the first years, because they might not be as focused yet.
right.
Yes.
You know, they might not be as focused yet, and they still want an entertainment element to education, unfortunately for me, but we have to consider it.
You're correct.
Yeah, you're correct. They're practically still high schoolers, so.
We don't need that stuff. But yeah, they even if they like and even if they're passionate about the course, because I get that some of them genuinely are, but for whatever reason they get bored extremely easily.
Yes.
And they also unfortunately don't like to be challenged. So you're confused as a lecturer. So you're bored, but if I challenge you, you're no indifferent. Okay, so how do we reach a middle ground? So I guess being exciting is what will keep
We
them
have to go
engaged.
for it. The word that we use is engaging.
Yeah, we'll keep them. Oh yeah, if it's exciting enough, they'll be engaged, right? But yeah, but these are really cool and no
See.
more printing.
I have let go that
No
word.
more printing.
Oh my goodness. No.
Not.
When somebody gives
I
me
mean,
paper, I'm like, what is that?
it can be placed so you have so many spaces to put what you've collected. It's highly unlikely
Not
we're
only
going to
that-
lose all of them.
Not only that, Chevy can tell you, you have to keep those papers for a number of years.
Yeah,
Because
oh, yeah,
4 years, 5 years from now, a student can contest a grade and you have to go look up paper.
Right, and it must be easier to pull up
Just do a
the
search.
digital one.
Yeah, man. And you can imagine if you have those papers at the yard and you move and you don't know which box it is.
Yeah, and even that for the contesting of responses.
Yeah.
If from in the class we establish, okay, so let's go through this,
Right.
and everyone can see that it's not biased to one person
Exactly.
or the other. They were
Exactly.
already set. It is either you said it or you didn't.
Exactly.
That's it. So,
I can tell you what inspired me to take the technology route. As I've been saying repeatedly, I taught in Montego Bay, but I always have lived in Kingston. So I would go to Montego Bay, the students would have work to submit, I'm part-time, and so then now I have to collect these works, jump on an Outside Express to then come to Kingston, and I have this paper on me. And then now I have this responsibility of
if you
I can't lose the paper, where do I store this paper? And then
it's the only one.
it's the only one, and then I have to go back to Montego Bay with them to give feedback to these students. When I had a marketing course that I was teaching there, and they had a final exam, and I'd be like, okay, babe, honey, I'm going to stay in Montego Bay for a few extra days so that I can mark these papers, return them to exams, and then head home. Because it was ridiculous to get this huge envelope with exam scripts, and I was like, no, there has to be a better way. So everything, all of these stuff, when you see us say I'm investigating, it's just because I'm saying it cannot go in this direction. It cannot be like this anymore.
Yeah.
Cannot.
Yeah.
I just cannot. And I'm still getting questions. Someone from my first cohort out of Montego Bay, they were querying grades last semester. I've started teaching in Montego Bay 2010. 2010. And I'm still getting queries on grades from that period. Can you imagine if it was paper-based? Having no paper cut down, you know? So yes,
Yeah.
this is the reason why I said I'm going digital, and that's what has been driving me to find these different technologies and just make my life easier. Alright? Alright, so sorry, should I check you on?
And of course the drive
Of course the drive. I
to
mean,
upload.
no, 1 terabyte. I've been saying it a lot, Chef. I've been saying it a lot. 1 terabyte, that's it. Once you say that, it's good. 1 terabyte, and I tell you, I'm not joking. As soon as I become a student, I am activating my student account as well. Giving me 2 terabytes of space. Don't, when I make the request, mates, please give me the second terabyte. Don't let me show off in front of you first and then don't give me the second terabyte. Okay, okay. I promise I'm using one for work and one for
No
school.
man, you should get it because isn't the login ID number?
Yes, it's
So
different.
you'll have a different ID number.
It's gonna be it's a different ID number. Anyway, teaching tips. So just some tips again. Schedule a reminder for each month to prepare your e-time sheet or complete it at the end of the semester, because that's what you forget. I had one semester where I had to go through that trauma of doing the e-time sheet, which is why I asked Mr. Shelton to come and show you guys, because I did not remember. I did not remember to do the time sheet, and then it was going on, and Tanya said, "Shelby, you're not gonna claim for." Why aren't you claiming for?
She's nice. She wants to give.
I mean,
service.
I want to donate my time to University of West Indies.
So donate my pay to the kids.
I want to donate my love to to the students, and so so at the last minute they actually ended up not going through the e-time sheet thing because they had to just requisition a check or something. I cannot remember. It was so traumatizing. I think I've mentally blocked the situation. So set up some kind of reminder. A lot of times your coordinator isn't going to remember to let you know. So set up some kind of reminder to say by this point. And if my memory serves me correct, I think it's the 23rd that you're supposed to submit your claim so that you can get it on time, right? So just set up a reminder like the 20th or so. Fill out your e-time sheet so you can get your monies, okay? Make the decision of where to add all your course material. My recommendation, as I said, I'm a Google baby, so I will say Google, but Microsoft. Alright, the only reason why I say Google, especially to part-time lecturers, is because you'll have access to Google outside of the time when your contract isn't up, right? When your contract is not in effect, you definitely won't have access to RVLE, but you might not have access to Office 365 as well, right? And you don't want to be cut off from your materials like that. So that's the reason why, really why I say use Google. Use Office 365 to store large files like the students' works, right? We've had a situation where instructor or lecturer has marked already, and then the student says, I don't agree with that grade, right? And so someone else had to be called to come in and grade. Now, if you've discarded the works, it's gonna be a problem, because then now, how can you validate, how can you verify that what the students is submitting to the external verifier is what you had graded, right? So I say keep a copy, and we have the terabyte of space, so drop it in that. You don't need access to it when you don't have your contract, when your contract isn't in effect. So use it for that, at least for that, right? Always keep a copy of student grades and submission. Keep a record of everything. Everything. Yeah. As I said, 9 years later, I had to verify a student's grade. I had to dust cobwebs out of my head because I couldn't remember what the situation was, and her situation was very hard. She did the course when she was in first year. She didn't pay her fees, so she didn't know she failed the course. So in her second year, she joined the class with me, but she audited the class in her second year. And so when she was finished with her second year and in third year, she realized, she paid her fees and then realized she did in fact fail it when she did it in first year. So then third year, she sat with me again and actually did the course, something like that. But she failed by a little bit. So then we had to give her, because it was the outstanding course, we had to give her a makeup exam, and I prepared the makeup exam. She passed the makeup exam, but apparently she didn't pay or something, and then that makeup exam grade just disappeared into infinity. And so I had to remember this story, because at first I was like, I can't remember, this was This was years ago. I can't remember the situation, but then no, I went to my records and I was like, I have a grade for a year, and then I started to remember the situation because I had a record of everything, right? And that's, trust me guys, woo! Trust me, we teach, keep a record of everything. Alright, so let's go into Blackboard Collaborate quickly. That's day 3. I'm going to step top for a bit. Alright, went through that already. So really and truly, I just want to ensure that we cover Blackboard Collaborate. We might not be able to go into plagiarism, but I will still tell you the tools that you can use for plagiarism. Alright? Alright. Oh yes, we can. Mr. Jackson, are you looking? Are you looking? See? Shakira 1. Only Shakira. Right? See that? Now you're present. I'm seriously gonna start troubling you tomorrow. Alright? Tomorrow. Alright. So Mr. Jackson told me that he had watched the video and Shakira had watched it while you weren't here.
Okay.
So what do you remember from that Blackboard Collaborate video?
Who must go first? Me?
Yes.
Alright.
Put you on the fire. You have to be very gentle to the women, you know.
Alright, so to create a Blackboard session, you have to basically just like adding any other activity, and then you look for Blackboard. And once you've created that activity, students can go on and see that a Blackboard session exists, and they can join the session when the session is over.
Based on the settings that you have given.
Right, because you can set it. You can create a Blackboard session today, but set it to only be open, say tomorrow at 5 p.m. Right, and if you want, you can set your Blackboard sessions for the week, or month, or whatever the case is. You can allow students to take over a Blackboard session for presentation purposes. So if the students have a presentation to do, they can do it through Blackboard and control the space and take questions. And that's another thing you can do. Persons can raise their hand and you can answer questions. What I found very interesting that I didn't know before was that you can create a breakout room for the students.
Yes, you can.
So that the students can interact without the teacher.
Well, and you as a teacher, you can actually go to the different breakout sessions.
Oh, okay.
There's an interface where you can now select a breakout session, just like what you would do in a live space where you're walking around and you're listening in to see are they on the right track. You can do that with Blackboard.
Okay. What else is there? Oh, it actually has a drawing tool as well, a whiteboard. What else? Oh, you can share screen, of course.
Collaborate.
See, I like that. I like how Shakira just assisted you with one word, because that's how amazing women are. She said collaborate.
I thought that was what it was.
No, you did not say it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stop.
I think that's
But
what I remember.
you agree with what he says?
It was a blur to me, so he made it much clearer.
Yes. Thank you for that, Mr. Jackson.
You're welcome.
All right. So as you said, we have to activate this online space using or VLE. So I know Shakira doesn't have hers, but you can follow along with Mr. Jackson because he has access to it.
Alright. Let me log in.
one where
Shutting down.
What is that time of day?
and then use one where I'm
Should I just try and add it anywhere or follow along with you? Follow along with you
Yes,
or try
you
and
can
add it?
follow along.
Alright.
Alright, so just as usual, we turn editing on.
Alright.
Now what Dr. White does in his situations, at the very top, he creates a Blackboard Collaborate up here. So as soon as the students log in, they see the session, they see the link, they click on it, and then all the sessions are there, right?
Okay. So is it like a
And
group?
It
Okay,
groups them,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
I don't know if you want to do it. So if it's based on the topic, you have a, inside the topic you have the I say BBC, okay? You have the BBC, or within each week you have the BBC, or if you decide to put it at the top, it's up to you. But I'm telling you the way which Dr. White does it, which is at the top, right? So I'm gonna add it to the top. Add an activity. And in this nice long list of things that we can add, external tool is one of the options. I feel like I jumped ahead. I always do this now. I usually jump ahead in my slide to make sure. Yeah, I did. Alright, so let's talk about let's ask some questions. So where would you rather teach from? Within the classroom, or from your home, or where you work, or from the beach, or I don't want to say on vacation because vacation time is vacation time. But where would you rather teach?
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Except school.
Anywhere except school. You say Shakira.
I would say anywhere, but it depends on just the mind frame that I'm in.
Alright, that's a good one. That's a good one. Alright, so when it comes on to whether it's blended or online learning, you're gonna hear two phrases: synchronous and asynchronous. All it means is one of them is just saying you're teaching them, they're joining you at the same time, or they join whenever they have the time, right? That's all, no big deal. The cool thing with Blackboard Collaborate is that you can have a synchronous class and you can do it from anywhere. And we've been recognizing that it's a good tool, especially for our part-time students, the evening students. Their classes they start from 5, it's really 5, but sometimes we say start at 5:30, and some lecturers give allowance till 6 o'clock, right? But then they have class from 6 to probably 9 o'clock or 9:30, and then now they have to go back home. And it's cool if they live in Kingston or St. Andrew, but I had a student who lived in Old Harbor for my classes, and so one of them, I think she lived in Ochi. And so when she left in the night, she's traveling, right? She's traveling to Ochi. And I remember, I cannot remember if it really is Ochi, but I remember saying to her, like, I couldn't believe that someone would travel that far, especially in the evening, right? An option like a Blackboard Collaborate would work for a student like that, Yes.
You asked where would I prefer, right? But as in the case of the student,
Mhm.
I think any time
Anytime
would be
for-
important to me because, all right, so being a business professional and a part-time lecturer is like, I think they have this one on us.
Is it on us or is it on the laptop?
It's on the laptop. being a business professional and a part-time lecturer, right? And life outside of work as well. And just, I guess, you have other things to do for your own personal development. Your time is extremely
precious
and scarce. So having to repeat the same classes over and over again when chances are you're going to have a similar response with the students. It doesn't matter which batch it is. I find that they tend to have the same, it's like the same thing, the same kind of answers, the same reaction, the same, almost the same grade sometimes, unless you do something deliberately different to trigger something, right? So that means the class doesn't have to take, it doesn't have to fit into a school schedule,
Exactly.
a 9-5 schedule, because the world is moving away from that. So if we could do the Blackboard, I get up every morning, actually I get up at 4 a.m. and I do whatever I'm doing, and I'll say, okay, at 6 when I'm nice and fresh and everything is in my mind, I'll do my 1 hour lecture, my 2 hour lecture, my 3 hour lecture, whatever it may be. And if it's interactive or it allows some interactivity, if that's where you're gonna go with Blackboard, yeah, that I it's not necessarily where for me, because as long as it's a quiet space that is not distracting to the student or to myself, and I'm in the mindset, yes, I'll deliver it. So it's just the time. So if I can do this from before or at any given time, I find the time.
They said 6 a.m. and MSD, they actually have master's classes. So I should say MSBM now, that's who they
But
are.
it cut out the driving to work and getting ready.
Exactly.
So, that is wasted time. It is an hour or more for some people.
To travel.
And you might try to go over your material in your head at that time, or you try to make phone calls at that time or something to be productive. But it really, you could be more productive doing it while you're not driving, because it's not really safe to be doing that while you're driving.
Totally understand where you're going. Kevin, you look like you want to say something.
No,
you good?
I'm good. No, I agree with everything she's saying.
I agree 100%.
Collaborate is wonderful for saving time and being convenient.
Yeah. Alright, so going back, I don't know if there's any right way, if synchronous is better than asynchronous. I don't know if there's any right way. Honestly, I am led by what works for my student and not necessarily what the theories say to me, and somebody goes.
But you can do both though.
You
can do both, right?
Because you can record the session.
How you do it asynchronously is you pre-record the lessons.
The core.
Yeah. And you could send an email to ISS. Right?
Okay.
And say, hey ISS, I need to do some recording. Can you come in at this day and time, and this is what I intend to do, and they will make themselves available should they be available, right? Or you can do something like a screen recording. That's how I started my videos initially. Wake up like 1-2 o'clock in the morning when outside is somewhat quiet, although sometimes the students would laugh at me and they're like, Miss, why you name a dog keep barking? And so it was a screen recording, and they could hear me speak, and I'm guiding them through a lesson, and they had that. So that's asynchronous. It's a video that they can watch at their leisure, and then you can leave them materials, quizzes, and all of that stuff that they can interact with. And it's not necessarily both of us have to meet at
Right.
the same time.
And I
Because
guess-
that has its implications,
Mhm.
because sometimes when instructor is available for instruction, the students can't, that's not a convenient time for them, or vice versa, alright? So that's one school of thought, that, listen, leave it in the hand of the student, let them interact with the materials when
Yeah.
they can interact with the material.
I totally agree.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about it because when I was studying, I had a lot of clashes.
Yeah, man.
A lot of because outside of the you have to do the practical, they are compulsory.
Yes.
But you have two other classes at the same time, and then they might say, well, you didn't, I never really see your face before them, Miss Campbell, so
And to be honest with you,
I
you know,
cannot award you this grade. But
oh, boy. No, but to be honest, it works for teachers too, because it saved my life when I had a clash as a teacher. Right?
There you go.
I was told class was supposed to be on this specific day, and I go, oh yeah, that's fine, because the other class I teach on Wednesday, we're good, yeah. And then they come back and go, oh, we made a mistake, your class is on Wednesday. I'm like, I'm already teaching a class on Wednesday. How am I going to work this out?
wow.
So at least with that I could do an asynchronous class with one and face to face with the other.
There you
Yeah.
go.
But
I mean, all of this is fine for me if it doesn't take away too much of the personality
Yes.
of or the humanness
Yeah,
of
yeah.
teaching, because as much as technology is helpful, there are students who need
yeah,
that.
yeah.
They need that.
Yes.
They need that.
No, that is true, because
That
I mean
interaction.
every class is the same in the sense that there's always those 3 students that always asking questions.
Right. They're different learners.
Right.
So some they're good by themselves, good reading, yeah man, and they hold it down the whole time and they're fine. But there are some that need
Yeah, yeah.
the banter and the
Exactly.
What I was thinking of doing is, just based on this discussion we're having today,
Mhm.
is that if I create Blackboard sessions,
Mhm.
I might create a forum to go along with it, so
Yes.
that I can say any questions about anything I mentioned in today's Blackboard
Yeah, the
session, put it in the
opportunity.
forum, and I'll be happy to answer, so that they don't feel, because you might think that, yeah man, I'm explaining this concept full 360 degree and then still don't get it.
Yes.
And you need to, they wish they could say, sir, could you go over that? I don't understand.
You can say it in the most basic
Basic,
language.
basic.
I put another perspective on it as well. For me, some courses didn't work at certain times of the day. Like my mind
No.
wasn't
True.
in that mind
True.
space at that time.
Mhm.
So it's way in the evening, it's the only class that I can get, but no, you want me to do computation. And I love maths, but when the brain is tired, the brain
Yeah,
is
man.
tired.
Yeah, man.
Can't
You'd
I?
be very distracted.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'd be falling asleep, I would be everything but listening or doing what you want me to do. And again, it's not that I don't want to, it's just time of day.
No, that's true.
I gave an example, I won't say any names, but I gave an example of a computer science course that I did, which was scheduled after lunch, 1 p.m., in the coldest the coldest room you could ever find, and our lecturer,
Speaks
Mrs.
in
Hall,
monotone.
he speaks every day. And so recipe for us to fall asleep, so
Maybe that's what he wants you to do. This subconscious will pick up
Yeah.
the information.
you grab your nice warm jacket and you just slowly
Slowly.
go away. And the content whoosh, right? So
Oh, no.
can you give me an opportunity? It could even be a second look. I did go to the class. I am engaging with you, but now I want to go back and just get a refresher, or narrow in on a
Right.
topic that I might have been answering a text at that time and it went over my head. Let me go back and see what had happened. So there's so much stuff that we can
Yes.
do when it's asynchronous.
Yeah, man.
I have one other
Yeah, man, go
recommendation, which is And this just came about because same thing, the time of day, people are getting home and people get home late and stuff like that. So every time I would have an online session, sometimes students would arrive late, really late. And you're sitting there because I had to record the sessions. And you're sitting there and you're sitting there and you're sitting there and there's all this dead space. And like students would, like when the students who didn't come, I would say, did you watch the last session?
No, I did not.
And I said, boy, sir, I was watching it, but there's all this dead space and you don't know where to fast forward to and whatever. So what I started doing was, when the session start, I would just start lecturing whether somebody's there or not. So that at least they have something to listen to until somebody joins.
Yes.
Because otherwise they'll skip through, go silence, and they'll say, check yeah, but
And that's actually one of the things that BBC offers. You can record it and the students can go back to it. Now, how it's intended to use is it should be a synchronous session where both you and the students are in the session and you're delivering. But it can be used if you want to do it asynchronously, where you deliver the session. It can be a screen recording, so you put up your slides or whatever it is, and then record, leave it onto the Orville. The students can interact with it, and as you say, give them some kind of forum. Now, what I would suggest to you is the next time you do that, you have some kind of quiz or discussion or forum attached to it that has a grade.
Yeah.
Or the BBC session is everything that you want the students to do, that they have to do. You want them to do it and they have to do it. A grade is the easiest way to solve that issue. And again, it can be some simple grading, like 1% and overall. You understand? Just some small, just to do the activity or to ensure that they do the activity. And even that checklist thing that I showed you guys 2 days ago, where they can't move to another section until they've completed this activity. You can incorporate that as well. So we have things in place to ensure that they do what you need them to do, because it makes no sense. I always have that situation as well. Even in live classes, student doesn't show up for the class, and then they go, boy, we can't answer that, because I never did class last week, it's your responsibility.
You have nice students. My students tell me that I never taught them that.
That one too.
And I had to shame them and say, you never came to that class.
That one too.
That one, yeah.
That one too. It's your responsibility as a tertiary educated student to find out what had happened in the last class, read up or watch or whatever, ask your classmates, review their notes so that you're now informed, so when you come to this class, you can perform well. No, I didn't do any of what you just said, Miss, but just come to class. Right? So yes, all points noted. So some of the benefits of BBC. Remote access for course delivery, which we've discussed extensively. You can record your sessions, you can have your breakout groups, as Kevin had indicated, but another thing that it works for, it's perfect for emergency situations. So the other day, oh my God, I'm speaking like I'm an old person. So a few months ago when we had the issues with the bus drivers and the taxi drivers, there were some students that they just couldn't make it to school.
Right.
And so quite a few, especially those evening classes, quite a few of us as lecturers gave the option of, if you can't make it in, you can join in on the online sessions so that you can still participate in class. So, these are things that we have to consider. Sometimes the situation won't allow for a face-to-face. How can we still have the students be engaged and get the content that they need without having to schedule a makeup class, which within itself is a nightmare.
Oh, I should also mention BBC is very mobile friendly.
That's the next thing that we're going to do.
Okay.
Switch to the next slide, Jeff. Get the BBC app. Now, when you set up your Blackboard Collaborate in RVLE, there's a section that actually allows you. So I'm going to show you my app. There's a section that allows you to take in. So when the app, where did I put the app now? Come on, Shelly. Senior moments. All right. So let me walk over to you. I'm gonna go through this minefield. Da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. All right. So this is the app. Wait. Let's give Alex a moment there. Yeah. Don't watch how many apps I have for teaching. All right, so that's the app, and what it's asking is the link, and you can pick up that link in your Blackboard Collaborate session, and you can share that link with the students as well, because the likelihood is if they're not on campus, they're probably using their phones or their tablets to join. And the next one is just asking, what's the name that you display when you're inside the session? And please ask them to use their full name so you know, because you don't want a sexy Chevy. No, watch my notification. You don't want
3 Johns in the class and you don't know which
John. You understand? So you want to have some kind of plan of action when they decide to join in using their phones.
Right.
All right. All right.
And good looking out, Alex, for voting no on me buying.
Yeah. Alex voted. Session name so that it's very clear as to what it is that this session is. Don't just leave it as session one.
I usually say week, or I usually say week.
Or week.
Whatever,
You understand?
and then the topic.
Right. Don't just say week one, because week one can mean anything. You know, when is that? What time is that? I don't know. Yeah. So I'm being naughty. Session one, blah 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 blah. Right? If the person wants to join in via phone call, you can give them the phone number and the PIN to access it. That's for the guests. The role for the guests, are they going to be a participant? Or are they going to be a presenter or a moderator? So Raman could be a moderator within your session, or you could request a moderator like a Craig or so from engineering to say, I'm gonna need assistance with delivering this session. Or a moderator could be your when Yui gets to this stage, or go back to the stage where we have teaching assistants. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that term, teaching assistants. So disgusting. The TA could actually be the moderator. Could actually be the moderator that assists you to make sure that, especially when you're doing those breakout sessions, instead of you walking around to these different groups trying to listen as to what's happening, you could have a moderator with you that's also assisting the students and getting them where they need to go, right? So you can say what you want what you want that guest to be. Then, of course, schedule it, what date you want it to be, the time you want it to start. I don't know, let's leave it at 3 p.m. This is going to be a very short session, 1 hour, you know. No end. Let's leave the session open.
Okay.
I'm not. Right? early entry. Now sometimes, just like in your classroom, students arrive early before the session begins. You know, are you gonna lock the door so that they can't come in the classroom? Or are you gonna allow them to come in and sit down, possibly even socialize before the class begins, right? So you can give them early entry. And you can determine how long that time is. It's just gonna be 15 minutes, a half an hour before they can come into the session. I don't know. My rule of thumb is 30 minutes, but honestly, do what works for you and do what works for your students. Provide a description, yeah, if you want. And then some additional options. You know, when that person enters, when they enter into this session, are they automatically a participant? Are they automatically, can you please drop them for me? Are they automatically a moderator or a presenter? You know, let's leave it at participant, because that's what the role of the student should be.
Right.
And then you can promote them to presenter or moderator within the session if you want to switch, but you want to allow, trust me, allow recording downloads. You might not want them to download the session, you might just want them to be able to watch it online. Yeah. I have difficulty with the word, but you can see the word for the chat sessions, chat messages. Do you want persons to be able to be who they are, or just chat anonymously? Yes. Show profile picture for moderator only. Now sometimes what you want to do, you want to control certain elements. So when I have my sessions, my online sessions, there are certain things that I have that we agree on. The student and I will come together, we agree on stuff. When you come in, mute your microphone unless you have something to say. Don't show video. You don't even have to show photo of yourself, because that takes up bandwidth, especially the video of yourself, right? So those stuff you can control. You can say show profile picture of only the moderator. Everybody else is gonna get a little, anonymous icon. Or you can say, no, I need to know, the name alone isn't gonna tell me who this person is. I need a photo. So show photo of everyone. You with me? Mm-hmm. You can make that determination. Share audio, share video, post chat messages. All of these options are available for us. As Kevin was just saying, draw on the whiteboards or on files, right? Allow attendees to join the session using a telephone. I don't know what their situation is. It could be that they don't have internet where they are, they have to call in instead. But of course we have to consider the cost to them, unless you're like me that have an unlimited plan, phone line. Participants can only chat privately with moderators. So you can, inside the session, and we're gonna check it out. Inside the session, persons, they can, there's a chat window that you can say, I want to talk to the moderator, I want to talk to the presenter, or just talk to everybody. You send a message that everybody can see, those type of stuff. And then we say, save. And session 1. Oh dear, it's tomorrow. Did I set session 1 for? I set it for today. Sometimes I'm crazy. Oh, it's not my phone. What's a long session from the 9th to the 16th? Right. Alright. Alright. What? Alright. So, and and you could copy the link. So remember I was telling you, you would have gotten a link for your session so the students can join via the mobile app. There is the link. So did any of you get the mobile app?
No.
No? Alright, so let's drop this in the day 3 lesson. Oh, man. Isn't that ugly? Ugh. Don't worry, I'm gonna fix it up. Wait. Oh. Isn't it like it was a PC? I am so sorry, sweetie. Should not have done that to you. Alright, so there is the link. Because you guys don't have access to the course. So you wouldn't be able to go into my course to then access the session. But you can click on the link to access the session. So let's do that. And let me join on my phone so we see what it looks like.
It's in the presentation, all right?
Yes, it's in the presentation. Day 3 presentation.
We're in.
What page is that? Yes. Okay, perfect.
Full name?
Yes, please.
Session 1, positionist,
I didn't start it. I don't remember the settings that's what you know. It's so sad.
I'm in. I see.
So I need to
Shakira
mute?
is joining.
I should have changed the name to Chevy.
I need to mute the microphone?
Alright, am I in? Camera one to use my camera. Hello. Audio test. Yep, we're getting it. Yes, it's working. Hello. On my camera. Yes, it's working. Everybody can see my ugly mug. So Ramon, you're going to show them, you're going to be in the session. You go away from me. Go down there, students. Alright, and from the classroom session, geez, I'm going to talk low even. From the classroom session, I clicked on these 3 dots. So look up on the screen for a sec. I clicked on these 3 dots and it joined session. So those who had access to the container, they would just simply go to our VLE and then click on the 3 dots to join session. Let's hope this computer can work with it. Yes, see that? Yes, it's working. Hello. Oh, no. Yes, it's working. Alright. Turn on the volume on that one, Ramon. And that's one of the reasons why I say
Mute. Feedback.
when you're in there. Alright, let me mute mine.
think I am.
Alright. Ramon just muted. Kevin just muted. Alright. Yes, Shakira, you're muted. I know I could have known because the microphone was on for each of you. So no, it's not on, so I know that you're not. Alright. So you can turn off your mic, turn it on back. Hello everybody. I can turn on the video. Sorry, the options are at the lower screen on there. Share video. No, sir. Yes. I need to be sitting down. And so you should be able to see me talking. Everybody seeing that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah?
I see your chin talking. There you are.
And then I can turn off the video. Each. Somebody raised their hand a while ago.
Accident.
By accident, but it's fine. So you see an icon there in the same spot where it's in my video and raise hand if you have a question to ask, right? Let's click on, let me see what it looks like for you guys. Because it differs from the app to do. There we go. And you see some options there, right? Alright, let's take a look at the app. And you activated your chat window and you say now you can determine, do I send it to everyone? Do I send it to a particular person? If you take a look at the app, so turn around, Shakira. Take a look at the app. See, it says it's laid out a little bit differently. You have chat. You can see who is participating. You can leave the session not sharing, right? And you can see the other options. So there we go. We're good? So, and as you can see, you can know, it feels like a Zoom or Google Hangouts or one of those services, but so take a look at your options. So click on those three lines on the left. And what is different with yours versus mine? Yes, Jeff.
You can record and we can't.
Actually, the left hand came back.
Oh, your left hand came? Okay.
Yeah, by accident.
That's fine. So there it is, you see, I can start recording, so I can start recording, and the recording has started. Hey everybody, let me talk. So today's lesson is about echoing. Alright? And I can stop the recording. With me so far? Use phone audio, report an issue. Oh. I can speak with a particular person, look at my moderators and chat with my moderators if I need to chat with my moderators. I can send a message to everyone and say, hey, I'm waiting for more students to join the session before we really begin. You know, continue talking, blah, 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 amongst yourselves, right? Nice little emoticons. Yay! Nothing like an emoticon to make you feel good. And here it is, I have a record of who it is. I'm on the attendees tab, and I can click on the 3 dots beside each person and then say, remember before I was saying set them to participant, and then once they're in the session you can change their
role,
who they are, right? So see, I can now change Kevin to be a moderator. Oh wait, Yeah. Oh, you dropped off. Okay, because I was like, wasn't I on? Wasn't I on my name? I can change Shakira to be a presenter, right? And it's telling me who is inactive as well. Did they drop off or not? And so I can keep track of all of that. And Chevy number 3, my goodness, I am so popular. I'm so popular. The conversation is getting too out of control, or somebody is muting and you don't know who is not muting their microphone. You can say mute all, blah blah blah.
Where is that? Show that again.
Sorry, go again.
In the attendees.
Oh, so I'm in the attendees tab, and at the top right hand corner, I click mute all.
But only you can do that.
Yes. Because you're the top shot.
Okay. It means everybody except you. It means everybody except you.
Everybody. Well,
Yes.
I made Shakira a presenter now, so her options should have changed. Where she can share now, right? So, Shakira, choose something that we can see. Okay, don't choose anything that we shouldn't see.
Choose something that you can.
Oh no, she's searching now. Nothing
to be.
All right, let's do the whiteboard then. Share blank whiteboard. Or yes, give us a document.
I'm looking.
She's looking. What's that image? You sure?
Everything is PG, man, but it might not be relevant.
It's fine.
So, share files. I have to share it from here, or I can drag and drop. I can
Yes.
drag and drop. Alright, so I'll share. I'm looking for a presentation.
That's fine. It can be an image. It don't have to be a presentation. Woo!
I can't.
Was that you? That was a good-looking photo. I'm gonna say I want to see the photo.
No.
Everybody else doing no. I want to see the photo.
I second that.
Yeah, there we go.
I want to see the photo.
Yeah, we want to see the photo. We're Jamaican people. We love mix up.
No, I look fat.
Oh my God! Listen up.
Hold on, the photo is. I can take it out back. No one can save the photo. No, I know you guys won't, but in the future.
No.
Whoever
Not to my
presents.
knowledge. No, it's not supposed to be able to download.
It's a very
You can't
personal
stop. You
photo.
can't stop
though.
print screen, so you're a print screen.
It's shared.
All right. So are we? So click share now.
Oh. Chevy sent me a.
No man.
Chevy, your battery low. Just letting you know. Your battery low.
From my phone?
That's what it says. Collab.
No, I think that's for
That's not
that's for
battery.
the PC up there.
And so now, I can unmute you, and then now, Shakira, I'll mute myself, and Shakira can do a presentation. So let me mute myself. Where is it?
It's familiar. It's a police officer.
Or unmute yourself, Shakira.
Unmute myself.
Yeah,
Okay.
and speak to us.
You're not muted.
I am.
Something else.
It could be reacting to the camera equipment. All right. Yes. Mute.
So maybe-
Mute.
Maybe take off your mic.
Why should your voice strong, girl?
No, I think it's the lapel it's reacting to.
Oh. Yeah.
Wireless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably that, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That makes
okay.
sense.
All right. So if you look on my share screen, I have quite a lot more options than what Shakira had. So see, I can share a blank whiteboard, which we've interacted with whiteboard, so I'm not going to go into that one. Share application or share file. I can even do polls. Well, I don't know this one. Timer. Okay, I don't know that one.
I guess if you want to time an activity or
I
time.
guess so.
Because like sometimes what I do is just give them an activity and tell them you have 10 minutes to do it. It's now 6:50. I'll be back at 7.
Ah.
And then I usually go eat dinner and come back.
Alright, so the option that I selected a while ago, there it is, breakout groups. You see at the lower end? Interact, breakout groups. And it automatically created the groups for me just because I said groups of 2, right? But you can
Size it. Okay.
Yeah, right. But we'll work with what we have now. We can say start. As you can see, it's telling me I'm in group 2 now, and
So now I'm interacting with Kevin.
yes, and you should be able to talk to Kevin, but you cannot hear what Chevy and Chevy is saying.
Group 1. Does
You with me? And then we can close out of the breakout session.
Oh, so this is when you come offline and say, boy, them done said pick me up. Can't leave it.
You are supposed to still interact with each group. It is simulating a live session, so you're supposed to go around and ask the groups questions to prod them in the direction.
So peer and
You're
share.
facilitating.
Peer and share.
Now when you want to end the session, see, the stop button is provided. And when you stop,
Okay, cool.
and then we go back to the main room.
Nice.
So I'm hoping you're seeing that you can have
Good.
interesting sessions using Blackboard Collaborate. So again, you know, when you're setting up your RVLE, you might want to, just in case, even if it's one session, or just create the container. Because remember before, all I did was created the container, and then it was when we got to Blackboard Collaborate, we created the different sessions, right?
Right.
So if it's a spontaneous session, you might want to just create the container, and when it's time, you just create the session when you want it. Or you can plan from before and say, well, you know what? I am going on a conference on this date or for these couple of days, and I won't be able to do the course live, but when I am wherever, we're gonna have a BBC session, and then you share the rules. And as I said, I suggest that you have some kind of, you know, rules for your session before the session has been activated, even when the students, even before you start recording or just after you start recording, you say, just a reminder, these are the rules, so that to ensure that
There are no
everybody,
glitches.
right, you know. Still, one of the things that happened in Dr. White's session, and we're doing COT one more time, advertising for the COT sessions, right? Caramac Online Teaching Tools. Dr. White was asking us questions, so he's the presenter. He's asking us questions, but we have on the microphone, and immediately he asks a question, and I just unmute and answer the question, right? But reading in a classroom, Kevin, reading in a classroom, I'm supposed to raise my hand, or the student's supposed to raise their hand, and then when acknowledged, answer the question, right? So again, that could be something that one of the rules that we set out to say, once you have something to say, raise your hand first,
Right.
so that I can acknowledge you. And once I've acknowledged you, then you can participate or unmute and then say what you need to say.
Right.
Once you finished what you're saying, mute again so that we don't have any audio
Right.
issues.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah. Question.
Yeah, first.
Is there a way after the session is finished to be able to see who attended the session?
Yeah, I believe so. You know, I've never done that.
Yeah, because that was one thing where there are two things that I encountered when using Blackboard that I couldn't figure out how to do. was one, looking back to see who has viewed the session, and two, the conversation. I couldn't get back the conversation.
No.
Because because what happened was like during the conversation, like we had said, like I was saying to them, for this assignment it's group work, and we were like trying to figure out who is in which group, and then when coming back to, like when I was going to send some more details to the groups, I was just like, what were the groups again? And I was trying to find a conversation and couldn't find it.
Understood.
Or one person might say.
So just leave the session for me.
Alright.
And that's by again clicking on those 3 lines and then click leave session. Did I like the session? It was aight. It was alright. It was fair. Let's put fair. I'm putting fair. I don't want to answer my question.
Yeah, so I always skip.
Yeah, okay, fine. I was trying to be a good person. Alright. Session has ended. Or at least I've left. I can close my window. Refresh. Let's go.
View
View
reports.
reports.
What session is one?
Curious?
That's one fish that I'd love to see in there.
I guess that's something we'll have to find out through mix. Or maybe because we haven't got to the 426 yet. Maybe that's why it's not giving us the
Oh, maybe.
Well, I never did that before, so I don't wanna say it's not possible. But
I hope it
always
does,
ask the people who know. And even if they don't know what they'll do, they'll ask the other people who know.
Right. I hope they do though. Because if you decide to do asynchronous, it would be nice to know. I guess that's where a quiz and a form would come in.
Exactly. Where did I leave my phone?
With Ramon.
This phone?
Oh yes. I was just testing you. This is how good an instructor I am. I was testing you guys if you were paying attention. Allows us to determine the percentage of somebody's work that is used elsewhere. Alright, so what it does is you submit the document and it says, it'll give you an overall percentage and then it highlights the different blocks that it found in other papers or outside of that paper, right? Both students and lecturers have access to it. Though I do not have there's a login and stuff that you have to use. So again, I'm just going to ask you if you can contact MITS and get that information, but it's available. And as I said, it determines the percentage. Click the next one. We're just going to jump over it. And then with DesignWorks, how do you know if what the person has given to you is actually original, right? This is not like a Turnitin that it was made to determine the percentage of something that was that's been plagiarized. That's not what Google image search was used for. It was just to see if your work is being displayed somewhere else. But we as instructors, we can use that to see if it's something that they pulled exactly from somewhere else, but we cannot, if they pulled something from this person and pull something from this person and pull something from this person, it's difficult for us to still track that as an image, but at least we have some kind of option available to us that we can test if the image is original or not. And that is it. So, inside the assessment regulations, and as lecturers, you need to read the assessment regulations. Go again. I think the 2017-2018 one is available on the exams website. There were some changes made for the 2018-2019, but if you didn't see the 2018-2019, read through the 27-2018. All you have to do is just assessment regulations, Mona, and you will see come up onto the exam. You see it on the left-hand side, a link on the left-hand side of the exams website for the assessment regulations. Read it. It's a big document, I will admit, but you need to know what your rights are. You need to know what the students' rights are.
61 pages.
Yes, I told it's a lot. So would you use Blackboard Collaborate, since that's the only one we went into? Would you use Blackboard Collaborate?
Definitely.
I know I am.
Definitely. Don't
All right.
have to ask me twice.
So the teaching tips, be sure to discuss with your students the rules for your BBC sessions. Establish an alternative form of communication should anything happen to the session. So for instance, a WhatsApp or a Yammer, something that they can use to message you to say, Miss, I'm having issues, or you with me? They've accidentally dropped out of the session, they can still contact you. So tomorrow, and I don't think we're going to go beyond 12 o'clock tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to tackle these services. Please, if you can just create an account for these services, just do so. Okay? Not except Teacher Aid. You don't need to create an account. That's a paid service. And I've asked Mr. Shelton to give us a demonstration of this Teacher Aid. But Clockify, Trello, VoxVote, Kahoot. But if you don't create an account, we can still
So these are phone apps or?
They are apps, but they are also Clockify. You can use it desktop. This one is sort of desktop, and when you see it, when you get there, you understand. And same thing with Kahoot. And Teacher Aid, you can use that through the desktop and app as well. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yes, follow me, Tech Teacher, at Tech Teacher on Twitter. Yeah. And then I'm also on WordPress.
No class?
No class? I can give myself not waiting rush. Alright, that's it. Thank you guys.